The winter 2025 anime season is cooking, and it's time for us to dive into the data and answer the burning question that we all have. Is your favorite anime popular in Japan? This is a video series that I do every single season where we look at some of the available charts out of Japan and compare them to the popularity in Western aggregation sites. Because weebs all know the truth. Japan has better taste than we do. Jokes aside, the usual disclaimers that literally nobody listens to and people will complain in the comments later about. These rankings are based on different sites, more geared towards Japanese viewership. This could be through streaming sites, Japanese television ranking aggregators, and whatnot. All data is taken from the day of the recording and can fluctuate based on episode airings, availabilities, exclusivities, early airings, etc. This data is not the end-all be-all. It doesn't say that your favorite anime sucks. It's simply an interesting way to analyze the interest in certain series. It honestly gives a good perspective on the success of certain properties. Because, despite how well a series does in the West, in a lot of cases all that matters to a lot of companies is how many eyeballs it gets in Japan. Because yes, most anime is advertisements for source material and merchandise. With that out of the way, let's dive into it. Starting things off with how well things are doing globally based on English data sites. And how we do that, of course, is my anime list and AniChart. Now, yes, as per usual, this is based on the actual users of those sites, but based on the fact that we can't really aggregate what everything is licensed on all websites and their viewerships of all those websites all into one, this is the best data that we have, taking a large sample size of users that are using those websites and what they're actually leaning towards. And as per usual with most seasons, these two websites are pretty much on par with each other. There's like only a slight difference with a couple of listings. Starting things off with number one, yes, Solo Leveling. Season 2 is absolutely dominating the charts. Its return has been doing very, very well, and I'm super happy about that now because I am really enjoying this new season. I wasn't a massive fan of Season 1, but Season 2 has been doing really well, so I'm happy to see it up there. It's deserved. Right below that one, yes, I would rather see this at number 1, but it is what it is. But yes, ReZero Season 3 is still up there at number 2, doing very, very well. And right behind that is Sakamoto Days. Now, I was very surprised because I think coming into the season, Sakamoto Days was actually dominating, and it seems like it has come down quite a bit. And that's probably because people aren't too happy with the animation not being ufotable quality, but it is what it is. It is what it is. People's got to get over that, unfortunately. And then at number 4, Apothecary Diaries Season 2. I'm absolutely adoring that series. I'm happy to see it up there as well. And this will probably continue to kind of rise as we go into the second core, but for now, it's in a comfortable place at number 4. Right behind that, Blue Box. Yes, you could probably argue that Blue Box has been around for 2 cores, so it has been kind of given, an extra season in order for it to buff itself up on the list, but still awesome to see that there. Number 6, Dr. Stone. People still love Dr. Stone. It's going to remain out there, so that's great there as well. And then number 7, Shangri-La Frontier. Second season is doing very, very well as well. And then number 8, Danmachi. Yes, it technically still is airing. It had that massive delay, but it's still around. It's at number 8. Number 9, Offeretta. People still love an Offeretta. That's still up there as well. Happy to see this. Number 10 on Mal, and I believe it's pretty high up there around that area for any list as well, Orb. I'm so happy to see that it's taken a whole season. It's been building up over 2 seasons right now, or 2 cores, but it's finally up there at number 10. It has been building up. I was shouting from the rooftop for people to watch that. I think a couple big content creators also started covering it as well, so it's like, oh, thank you for actually covering the show so people actually pay attention to it. Maybe all that kind of stuff helped it kind of bump up. Number 11, unfortunately, 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You. Way down there, but it is what it is. There's always going to be a drop-off with the next season. Hopefully it keeps rising up, but for now it's at 11. And then beyond that, the really interesting ones is number 13 is Dragon Ball Daima. It doesn't look like maybe possibly a lot of people that use those sites really care about Dragon Ball Daima, which is unfortunate. It's been fun. Zenshu's way down at 15. Despite it being MAPPA, it's way down at 15. Nobody cares about MAPPA when they're doing something that's not a big shonen. Guild Receptionist is way down at 16. Oof. And some things to note for later on. Number 31 is Nutmaster. Yes, Fruit Master is way down at 31. I'm probably going to call it Nutmaster again because that's, I think, the Japanese title used for it is Nutmaster. But 31 for Fruit Master and 42 for Medalist. Ugh. Medalist is literally like my number 1 favorite new anime this season. Like, it is literally topping the chart. Like, there is no contest right now. Medalist is absolutely fantastic. But 42 in the West, in global. 42. Yes, it's the Disney Plus curse. Let's all admit it's probably because it's on Disney Plus. Nobody wants to go there to watch it, but it still hurts. It still hurts. But that's the global sites. Nobody cares about the global sites. Let's compare that to what's going on in Japan. Starting things off with Abema. Now, Abema, for those who don't know, it's basically a streaming service that people go to. A lot of their catalog is anime related, so a lot of stuff when it broadcasts on television in Japan it'll end up going to Abema as well. Abema has a lot of exclusivities to it, and so there's a lot of good data here. And the reason why I like to use Abema is because they actually list the viewer counts, which is typically what you don't get from streaming sites. Streaming sites just say, oh yeah, this is the top one, trust us, bro. It's nothing to do with the fact that we have, any kind of exclusivity there or anybody's, passing some money on the table. We get viewerships on there. Now, they could botch the viewership numbers, but we're going with it because I like that aspect of it. Yes, there's some shows that won't even be on Abema. I believe things like Flower and Asura isn't even on the platform, so keep that in mind. Whatever's ranked here is what's actually available, which is a good portion of anime that's out there. Kicking things off with number 1. Abema's number 1 anime with the most viewership, based on viewerships on 6 episodes, Nutmaster. Yes, Fruit Master is number 1 on Abema's website. It is the number 1 anime on that platform. Why? It's in Japan. Like I said, I think I'd have this with every single one of these lists. I have to remind people, keep in mind, a lot of people that like anime in Japan, they just want something to be dumb and fun and an escapism. That's why there's typically a lot of isekais, really dumb isekais that are really high up on Abema and whatnot. It's just people want to turn on their streaming platform and watch a dumb show about a guy being OP. It works. Nothing wrong with that. I think the show looks horrible, and there's a lot of sugoi moments in it, but you have to admit, it's just a dumb fluff show that a lot of people are going to enjoy. Behind that, unfortunately not taking number 1 this time. I mean, it was, I think, last time when Apothecary Diaries first came out, it was topping Abema. Unfortunately, because of Nutmaster, it's number 2 this time. Apothecary Diaries 2nd season is right underneath it at number 2, which, yes, fantastic to see that much popularity that's around it. It will be on some TV ranking sites as well, so it looks like Apothecary Diaries across the board, both streaming and television, is doing extremely well. Then behind that at number 3, we have Sakamoto Days. Not a really big surprise there. It's doing much better on Netflix, but even despite the fact that it's doing so well on Netflix, it looks like people are also watching on Abema, so that's showing just how healthy Sakamoto Days is, that it's technically topping the charts on multiple platforms. Then we have behind that ReZero 3rd season. Yes, I did put together 6 episodes for this as well, episodes that were last year, but just to give kind of an idea of how healthy it's doing very, very well on the platform. Then at number 5, we have Solo Leveling 2nd season, doing very well as well. Number 6, Appraisal Skill, the Appraisal Skill show, out doing good. Again, it's escapism. It's a dumb show about a guy getting knocked to the bottom of the dungeon and getting waifu tree lady and being OP because she sprays liquids on him. It makes him powerful. Number 7, Orb, doing very, very well as well. Again, similar to Apothecary Diaries, doing really, really strong on Abema, at the same time doing very, very well in Japanese television. So across the board, streaming and television broadcasting, doing very, very well. Unlike the West, Orb is doing very well, and I love that because I really love the series. Number 8, The Alchemist That Became the Strongest. Yeah, that's up there as well. Again, dumb show about being overpowered. People like that escapism. It's going to be high up on the list. Number 9, Headhunt to Another World. Again, same case there. Number 10, I May Be a Guild Receptionist. This is actually very, very surprising for me. Yes, number 10 is very, very good. Amongst 60 plus shows, being number 10 is extremely good. Don't downplay that. But I have to admit, I was expecting that show to be much more popular in Japan. Now, yes, it's going to be also on Amazon Japanese rankings as well, but there's a side of me that almost thought, just based on the fact that Ria Takahashi was involved with it, it was going to do very, very well. I mean, she literally takes over the show. Her voice is taking over the show. It's similar to So Inspire So What, with that show, Aoyuki basically making that show. A lot of people were like, I don't even like this show, but I like Aoyuki, and she does a great job voicing it. I thought that was going to be the same case. Ria Takahashi is extremely popular, and I thought she was going to sell that show. But it seems like it's only doing about a 10 right there. And behind that, we have Alpharetta, From Bureaucrat to Villainous. Good to see Bureaucrat up there. That's another one that's on global rankings that's just not really doing very well, which is unfortunate. I Left My A-Rank Party, Online Shopper, My Happy Marriage Season 2, Magic Maker, Tasakore Hotel. That was a surprise as well. Tasakore Hotel doing very well in Abema at number 17. And then number 18, Red Ranger. in another world. It looks like Japan likes Red Ranger to Another World. I love that show, and it sucks that it's not doing very well Western. I guess because it's so Super Sentai, people don't really care about it. And it's probably an aspect that people just think, well, Power Rangers, I don't want to watch Power Rangers. It's totally an absolutely hilarious show, even if you're not a Super Sentai fan. Then down way at 20, Zenshu. Even in Japan, Zenshu's not doing that great, which is very surprising. Because again, Japan likes that escapism. They like that isekai aspect to it. And you'd think that would do a lot better, especially the fact that it's MAPPA. It's not really doing it any favors in the West. Again, nobody cares about MAPPA when they're not doing a massive shonen. And then way down here at 22, even on Abema, Medalist. Now it's gonna be on another platform, don't worry, but I'm still kind of hurt that it's that far down. It's probably because they may be getting it late. Then 23, 100 Girlfriends Who Really, Really Love You, Season 2. Sad that it's that far down there. I think even on the other websites, 100 Girlfriends is not doing very well. So I'm kind of curious if it's maybe possibly exclusive to Hulu or something like that, which I don't have really concrete data for. And that's basically it. Dragon Ball Daima is on there at 24. Flower and Asura is way down at 25. Flower and Asura technically has exclusivity to Hulu and some other platforms before Abema, so that's probably why there. So let's move on to Amazon JP. Yes, you may not know this, but despite the fact that globally Amazon gets jack squat for anime, especially North America, we maybe get one show a season anymore. In Japan, it's pretty darn big. Like, you can literally find any anime on Amazon JP. Like, they just get everything there, which is super surprising that they don't do that elsewhere. Yeah, I think they could technically dominate anime if they did that. But what I usually do with their website, because they don't technically give you like viewership counts, all I can really do for it is how many ratings it gets and what the score itself is. And it does give you a kind of an idea of what's doing well on Amazon JP. Especially because it looks like the reviews that are done on the website are extremely brutal. So if something's doing really well on Amazon JP, you know it's doing really well because people aren't brutalizing it with negative reviews. Let's start off with the number of ratings themselves, like how many times people actually review it, which gives us a sense of, again, how much popularity it actually has. Number 1, here's where we finally get it. Here's where we finally get the love for this series. Number 1, Medalist. Not only that, and I will point this out, spoiler for the other list, not only is it the one with the most ratings on Amazon JP, it's also the one that has the highest rating itself. It's at a 4.5 with the most reviews. So again, a website that people are pretty brutal on with some really nasty reviews, it's still 4.5, most rankings and everything. So Medalist is dominating Amazon JP. Absolutely dominating Amazon JP. And I'll take that. I'll take that win. I'll take that medal. Because again, it's my number 1 favorite new show of the season. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And I love the fact that it's getting that much love. Which does technically answer my question that I really have is, it does look like there's a lot of coverage happening around Medalist. There's a lot of behind the scenes and whatnot they're doing for it. So hopefully they're doing a lot of advertising and whatnot in Japan for it, really trying to get the word out there for people because it's been a very beautiful series. It has a great story behind it. And I think it's just a phenomenal series. So if you're not checking out Medalist, by the way, you don't even have to go to Disney. just go watch it in other sources, please. Anyways, gushing about Medalist aside, we have number 2 for the most ratings on it is Solo Leveling. And this is pretty much right behind that in strength as well because it's still a 3.5. It's not low on the actual score itself, but it's doing very well overall. Then we have at number 3, Dragon Ball Daima. Number 4, Zenshu. Finally, Zenshu's getting attention somewhere. It's not doing well on the rankings, but at least it's there. Then we have number 5, Middle Age Online Shopper, Another World. Number 6, Bureaucrat to Villainous. Yay. Again, Bureaucrat finally getting attention somewhere else. Number 7, Guild Receptionist. Great to see that there as well. Number 8, Sakamoto Days. And then number 9, we have Dr. Detective. So really interesting listings there. Again, that's based on how many scores they get. Then for the actual score itself, like I said before, because Amazon is extremely brutal, number 1, like I said, Medalist at a 4.5. Bureaucrat to Villainous is also a 4.5 as well, doing very, very well there. Apothecary Diaries Season 2 is doing very well in the ratings. Number 4, Dr. Stone. Number 5, 100 Girlfriends Who Really Love You. It might not be the most viewers and the most ratings, but at least it's getting good rankings there at a 4.5. Hanako-kun at number 6. Yay, finally somebody acknowledging. I thought Hanako-kun was much more popular in Japan. I thought it had a massive fandom, so maybe people are watching it somewhere else. I'd have to actually look at the actual exclusivities on that one. Again, it could be a case where it's just exclusive at a certain platform, and I don't have the data for that one. Blue Box at number 7. This is when we first start to drop down to a 4.0 ranking. Okitsura at number 8. Red Ranger, Another World at number 9, and they're finally, again, number 10, Flower Nosera, just barely making the chart. And again, Flower Nosera is one of those cases I confirmed is exclusive elsewhere. Now let's move on to Netflix Japan, which is, again, another platform that gets a lot of shows in Japan, and the popularity of watching the anime there is really, really high. And so we're seeing more and more so lately that on Amazon Japan, things are scoring really, really high, like across the board. This is a culmination of all shows together on Netflix Japan, and anime is dominating on there, which is really shocking. Number 1, no shock to nobody, on Netflix Japan, Sakamoto Days. Yes, Sakamoto Days is dominating there. It had the most highest weekly placements on the actual top 10 list they have. Sakamoto Days is absolutely dominating there. Then right behind that, I think this dominated before, but it looks like it's being taken over by Sakamoto Days. Number 2, Apothecary Diaries Season 2. Happy to see that doing well there as well. Like I said before, having it literally number 2 across all the anime on Netflix Japan on a weekly basis, while at the same time dominating on Abema, and at the same time dominating on television rankings. Apothecary Diaries is doing, I think across the board, if I were to, culminate the wins across all these platforms for Japan, I think Apothecary Diaries easily dominates everything. Like, it is literally the number 1 anime across all these charts. Number 3, and this is kind of a surprise to me. I probably shouldn't be surprised here, but number 3 on Netflix Japan is Dr. Stone. Dr. Stone is actually charting on Netflix Japan, doing very, very well there, which is really shocking. Then number 4, Soul Leveling. That one also is doing very, very well. Other than that, we have a lot of shows that kind of just creeped up to the top 10 list once, like across the entire season so far. 1 week it was up there. And that's Online Shopper Another World, Bureaucrat to Villainous. That was a surprise to me, honestly. I did not think that show would ever top Netflix Japan. But that's really, really cool. And then My Happy Marriage. That's more of a surprise that that's not more dominant on Netflix Japan, but it is what it is. Beyond that, we have the TV broadcast aggregation websites. So these are websites that basically bring together data about rankings on different regions and whatnot, what's actually broadcast on television and what their rankings are. First off, we have Video Research and Kanto, which typically this list will have a lot of very kind of, I don't know the best way to put it, normie shows that have just been around for a long time, like Detective Conan, Sazai-san. These shows are just like, people come home and they immediately have that on television. Like, the family just watches this every single day, and they've been running for so damn long. The only thing that's kind of seasonal based that would be interesting on those lists is number 4 is still Blue Mubiro. That show is still on there. The show was on there last season. It's extremely popular. Like, nobody's watching over here, but apparently Video Research and Kanto, it's got a listing there. And then Dragon Ball Daima, which, yeah, not a big shocker there, is doing very, very well at number 8. Then our other TV ranking site that we have is Anime Iga, which uses Demora. And on their website, again, like I said before, Apothecary Diaries, number 1. Apothecary Diaries Season 2, number 1 on Demora. It is just absolutely dominating there. Right behind that, similar to previous season, we have Orb at number 2, doing very, very well. Love to see it there. Then behind that, number 3, Dragon Ball Daima. Number 4, Sakamoto Days, another one that's dominating both on TV broadcasts, on streaming services as well. Then number 5, Blue Box. Blue Box is still surviving. It's over there. Number 6, Zenshu. So at least it's doing well on Demora. That's the first time we've really seen Zenshu very, very high up. Then we have Bonfire. I can't say that right. Bonbon Vampire, something like that. That show's doing it well at number 7. My Happy Marriage at number 8. And then Nobleman on the Brink of Ruin at number 9. And then number 10, Medalist. So Medalist is doing well on TV broadcast as well over there on Demora. Really interesting stuff. But that's it. That's all the ranking sites that I was able to kind of pick apart and look into and check out what's doing well in Japan. Very, very interesting list this time around. Nothing like a huge shocker. I think the biggest surprises for me, the biggest diversions between global and Japanese rankings, like something is high and something is low. Definitely, obviously, Nutmaster. Nutmaster being number 1 on Abema. It's not a shock to me personally because, again, I've been doing these ranking videos for so long. This stuff happens, but it's obviously the biggest difference between global and Japan. People are gonna roll their eyes at the idea of something like that being popular in Japan, but it is what it is. The biggest one that I think is the biggest shock, and the one that actually fills me with joy, is obviously Medalist. Having Medalist, despite in global rankings at number 42. Seeing it at number 1 on, Amazon rankings, doing very, very well on Abema as well, despite the fact that it's not there, with the exclusivity. Seeing it on Demora, I'm loving seeing Medalist doing well. It deserves it. The show absolutely deserves it. Obviously, seeing Bureaucrat to Villainous so high in Japanese rankings makes me really happy, despite the fact that it's not getting as much attention in the West as well. And Zenshu, I think that's probably the biggest surprise overall for me, just because I would expect Zenshu would do at least well in Japan. I kind of assumed it wouldn't do well in the West, just because, again, even though it's MAPPA, even though it does have some really great animation pieces, it's not another shonen. It's not a big, Jujutsu Kaisen, and nobody cares about it otherwise. Like, we're not even having people posting about how, their schedules are horrible and people are sleeping on their desks as they're animating in MAPPA Studios just because it's Zenshu. We have to wait until Jujutsu Kaisen comes out, and then we'll go, okay, let's watch all the animators like a hawk and see if anybody complains. The other interesting thing that I noticed with Zenshu is not only is it not doing well on things like Abema, like I said, it's number 20, but it's dropping like a rock. So I think quite a bit of people, even though they're watching Zenshu in Japan, they're not watching it for long. What typically happens with a lot of these viewership counts is, like, I'll put it in a chart, and I'm, covering, each episode, how much viewership it has. And yes, with every single show, episode 1 has a lot of viewership. And what happens is with the second episode, typically you'll have anywhere from 25% or 50% drop off. So you'll have 1 million views on the first episode. The second episode, you'll have 500,000. But it usually kind of stabilizes after that. It'll still have a decline, but it stabilizes. It doesn't have a massive drop-off again. With Zenshu, it's different. That show is having a massive, massive drop-off. So it looks like people were trying to stick with it, but at some point, they just kind of went, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm good with this. So it does look like even in Japan, it's kind of not very much so favored for a lot of people, even if they're trying to stick with it. I also noticed with Orb, which was very interesting to me, I also noticed with Orb, when it gets to the point where the cast changes over after the core change, yeah, there's a massive drop-off even in Japan. Like, if I made a whole video, people got mad at me. I made a video where I said why I stopped covering Orb, and my reason for that was that when they changed cast, I wasn't really enjoying it as much as I used to. And it looks like Japan agrees with me, because the moment that cast changes, it sees a big drop. It was actually very stable and even increasing with some episodes before that shift. But the moment the cast changed, it got a massive decline. So anyways, it's something to confirm my own biases there. But yeah, as per usual, I always love kind of seeing the similarities across Japan and in the West. Of course, seeing Sakamoto Days doing very, very well across the board for both Japan and globally. Soul Leveling, of course, doing very well across the board. Apothecary Diaries, loving seeing that love. And of course, ReZero coming back and doing extremely well. I think the only thing that kind of bugs me is I don't have any information on Ishura and Flower and Asura. Really kind of wanting to know how well those are doing in Japan. Obviously, Flower and Asura is exclusive to Hulu, Anime Unlimited, and UAnime or something like that. Those websites do have rankings on them, but I don't have any data to go with it. So it's kind of a trust me, bro. Trust our website to tell you what's doing well. But I would really hope that Ishura and Flower and Asura are doing very well. I was actually happy to see at least Tasakori Hotel was doing well. I'm really enjoying that show. So seeing that doing well in Japan's great. Red Ranger doing great. Happy to see that. 100 Girlfriends being on both sites despite them being low is great. And that's pretty much it. That's the big shockers for this season, but I hope you guys enjoyed this run through of the Japanese ranking, what's doing well in Japan, and comparing it to the West. It's always a fun kind of deep dive into all the data and really putting it all together to make this interesting video for you guys. Like I said before, it's based on exclusivities and whatnot. This stuff fluctuates all the time. Your favorite anime doesn't suck just because it's not on Japanese rankings. I don't care what site you like to use. I hate some of these other sites that people suggest because they don't have actual data to go behind it that I can confirm with it. I just like to go with what I can really dig into, and I really enjoy it. So hope you guys enjoy it as usual. If you like this content and you want to support on more, I have links in the description below. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, let me know what you're most happy about seeing high up on the charts in Japan, all that good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, you'll take care.